Hello you lovely lot, and welcome to another video from Oscar Cooper. And today we're going to be doing PlayStation VR games. I've got 5 of my favourite. I've had the system for a number of months now. I've actually bought a hell of a lot of titles for it, a lot of downloadable games and off-the-shelf games. We're going to start with one of the launch title games, one of the full price games for the system, and it is of course Rigs, made by Guerrilla Games. You know these guys from Killzone, etc., and they've got Horizon Zero Dawn coming up. These guys are very slick when it comes to development in games, and Rigs is no exception. It's actually a bit like Formula 1 or an e-sport. You can play with AI or you can play multiplayer. You have different game modes, etc. One of the things I want to point out is actually they pushed in an update which has got some new mech types. I think they're called APX. They're a different tier, and they all look different. They've got different livery, etc. It's pretty cool. If you're not familiar with Rigs, it's 3 main game types. You've got endgame, you've got team deathmatch, and you've also got a sort of goals system. The gameplay itself is very fast and furious. As you can see here, you have dual wielding weapons. These can be fired independently, and your mech itself has 3 different modes, where there's a repair mode, you can have powerful ammo, or you can have some speed, and these can be switched on the fly. It's pretty cool. If you need to run with the football or defend an area, you can flip this whenever you want. There's a strong emphasis on team playing here. The multiplayer mode is very robust. The game has some pretty cool maps. They're pretty large, they're multi-tiered. I enjoy mixing it up. It's great to actually play multiplayer online and actually coordinate your attacks, a little bit like Overwatch. So first on the list, Rigs by Guerrilla Games, an absolute classic already for the system. So next up we've got Thumper. This is a downloadable game, can be played in VR or normal. It made one of my Games of the Year nominations for 2016, and I just think I'll let the gameplay do the talking on this one. Yes, it's a completely mental, rhythm-based racer, as you can see here. You do start with one lane, this sort of opens up, but it's all about that reaction, that timing, that phenomenal soundtrack that you can hear bursting away in the background here. Some incredible colours, some really great animations on what looks like some sort of mental, crazy universe that you're careering into the centre of. I always go back to this game because it's got some innovative sort of visuals and gameplay techniques. It kind of stands out on the playlist for VR games, and of course you don't have to play it in VR, but I thoroughly recommend it. It's completely immersive. So Thumper, 4th on the list for the PlayStation VR. Yes, we had to have it. It's the Until Dawn game that's made the system quite famous. A lot of people speak about how great this is, and I think it's good for a number of reasons. It utilises the technology very well. Okay, it feels like you're actually sitting on your couch on a roller coaster going through this sort of awful, brilliant world. What it also does is use the Move tech, and that's a 6-year-old piece of technology, the 2 PlayStation Move sticks, but it utilises them extremely well. You have independent lights coming from your hands. The game's also very well choreographed. Jump scares are all in the right place. They don't feel too cheap, and again, it's not expensive, and there's a hell of a lot of content here. I think it's available for about $20. It's a game that appeals to all audiences. Everybody loves playing it when they come around the house. It's a real showpiece for the system. So yeah, number 3 on the list, Rush of Blood. So second on the list, and it's Res Infinite, a game that was around on the 360. It's been bouncing off at different platforms for a while, but it's finally found its home on the PlayStation VR. If you've not seen this game before, don't be put off by these sort of almost primitive visuals. The world is 360 degree. It is rhythm based, but it's got some arcade elements, almost some shoot 'em up elements to it. I finished it on the 360. I was watching and waiting for the announcement for this to come out on VR, and it did get quite a few nominations for Game of the Year on the system. Getting to it now and actually sitting down and going through all these classic levels is an absolute joy, and the soundtrack I listen to, not always playing the game. There's some really good artists on here, some awesome sort of thumping tunes come through on the later levels. The boss fights are epic in scale. I mean, you feel like you're actually looking at these huge structures and flying around them. It doesn't matter that the game's quite old. It really does shine on the system. It's so great to see Res on the VR.
Ethan, you were right. I did lie to you. I shouldn't have. All I can say is that if you get this, stay away.
Yep, number one, and deservedly so, is Resident Evil 7. And holy moly, mother of God, was this a pleasant surprise. First off, it doesn't have to be played in VR, but I am currently playing it through in VR. And one of the things I noticed off the bat is just look how different this opening game screen is. You're actually sitting in what looks like an apartment in a foreign country. It's really weird. You've got the chest there, and there's like a sort of weird made-up bed there. I just want to point that out, is that there is already content, that's different on the VR mode of the game. Now, nothing really prepared me for that demo. That demo was really good, and I was thinking, is it a bit like PT? Is that just a sort of really condensed taster, and really the full game is just going to be a diluted version of that? Well, as you all know from the reviews, this game is bringing Resident Evil back. It's brilliant, and what I love is that we're still using infantry management. You have the tape recorders instead of the typewriters. You're combining stuff. The herbs are back, and it really reeks of classic horror. You've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre in here. You've got touch of the Blair Witch in here. I mean, just the building and the dilapidation and walking around this house, the personality that the house has, and all that weird shit inside it, and the stuffed animals, and you just I lose myself in it. It really has re-established VR with me for the second time. I was thinking that this format isn't going to really catch on as big as I thought it was, but then this came out, and I was just like, oh my god, it's awesome. It's really creepy, and of course, it comes with its action segments as well.
Stop it!
I'm hearing that a lot of people are shying away from the VR mode of this game, and I think that's a mistake, because it was obviously built with VR in mind, and the combat and the aiming with the eyes, with the gun itself, is really satisfying. I find it really helpful. I'm going to play the whole thing through on VR, despite what my brain is telling me. So number one on the list, what a fantastic surprise, Resident Evil 7 on the PlayStation VR.